Welcome to another episode of the Policies and Business Opportunities podcast, showing on the African Diaspora channels in collaboration with the Cross River Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Fidelis Obana. Now, Cross River State sits on nearly 100 kilometers of Atlantic coastline, with the historic Calabar port linking the state directly to global trade through the Gulf of Guinea. Now, the big question this afternoon is, with all this potential, why has the state not fully tapped into the investment opportunities in the maritime sector in our dear state? On this episode of the program, we will explore opportunities hidden in our waters, from port logistics and fisheries to maritime services and coastal tourism. The question is simple but very powerful. How can Cross River and Cross Riverians unlock the maritime economy of Cross River State to boost our economy, to create jobs, and of course, give us a livelihood? My guest this beautiful afternoon is an accomplished entrepreneur, a professional freight forwarder, a custom licensed agent, an international trade consultant, an author, a mother, and a wife. Of course, she is Dr. Mrs. Aniefiok Iton, FCILT. It's good to have you join us today, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vitalis.
You have quite a commanding profile, I must say. I mean, I couldn't take all kinds of time, but I must say well done.
Thank you so much.
Well-traveled, well-experienced. So you're the right fit for the conversation today.
Of course.
Welcome. So let's start with the very first question.
Okay.
One cannot logically, talk about maritime investment in the state without talking about the blue economy. I recall vividly when the president set up that ministry and appointed a certain former governor to head that ministry. A couple of Cross Riverians and Nigerians were a bit confused. What is the blue economy all about? What is entailed? What do they do in that ministry? Give us some insight into the blue economy. What is it all about?
Yeah, the blue economy is a well-organized system that focuses on, bringing potentials in the maritime sector, for economic growth and performance. That potentials include the shipping, the fishing, the tourism, and all that, our day-to-day life is linked into the blue economy. Yes. And the system, the blue economy system, also look into safety of the sea.
Okay.
In order to secure it for our children. That is the future generation.
When you say safety, I mean safety from pirates?
From pirates, and not just that, like there's something we call polluting the sea.
Okay.
From
industries?
Yes, of industries, they look into, what comes into our seas and ocean. You cannot just wake up to say, let me move into the sea.
Okay.
There must be a system that oversees activities that's going on in the sea. So the blue economy takes care of that. Yeah.
Is that system in Cross River State?
Of course.
Is it functional?
Of course, there is no seaport that doesn't have that system.
Really?
For instance, like Calabar Seaport now, a vessel cannot just call without them being technical or critical about safety.
Okay.
Safety of the sea, safety of the environment. So the blue economy also takes care of that.
All right. So it's good to know that we have that system put in place at our Calabar port here.
Yes.
But like I did say in my opening monologue, we have over 100 kilometers of Atlantic coastline. And it means we have potential there. But the big question is, why has these potentials remained untapped? What are the problems? When you go to the Calabar port, it seems as though there's little or nothing going on there. So you are an expert in the maritime sector. Tell us what's going on there. Why are the potentials untapped up until this point?
First of all, I want to correct one impression that there's nothing going on at the Calabar Seaport.
Maybe little, small.
Yes, because I'm a practitioner and I have been around for several years, and I know that definitely every month on weekly basis, the Calabar Seaport at least play host to either one tram vessel or the other. And
hold on, ma'am. One tram vessel.
Yeah, tram vessel. I'm going to explain what that means. There are two arrangement of shipping.
Okay.
We have a liner vessel, like a liner shipping vessel. That one comes on a routine call. Okay. Then we have a tramp. That one is like a chartered arrangement, by which, it's only maybe industries or maybe for a particular project and you need to hire a vessel to bring in your consignment.
Okay.
And that calls Calabar Seaport maybe from time to time. For instance, almost all the facilities and equipment that are using for construction of one refinery or thereabout in Akwa Ibom State landed here, vessels landed here, on a tram.
When last did the tram vessel land here?
We had some, I think, early last year. Yes, and we also have some tanker vessels that bring petroleum products.
How often did they come?
That one comes at least monthly.
Monthly?
We have like 2 or 3.
So as a practitioner and an expert who has investment in the maritime sector, you had said earlier that these vessels come in at least once every month. Of course. Would you say that's a good grading for our seaport?
Not at all. Okay. Not at all. It's not even we can't have a 5%.
So that's underperformance then? It's
underperformance. There's no traffic.
What can we do?
The language we use is that the traffic is low.
Very low.
Very low in Calabar Seaport. You ask what is the limitation. Exactly. I want to say that number one is a lack of awareness. I wouldn't want to use the word ignorance, but I would rather use the word lack of awareness because, like you said, the maritime or blue economy system is a well-coordinated system that needs knowledge and understanding for you to be one of the practitioners. And if you do not have that knowledge, you will just sit at the fence and, it's either you demarket it or you just play in absence. It exists in absence rather. And number one, like I said, is lack of awareness.
Okay.
The Cross River State
from the government,
both
or
the government, but no, you can't leave that responsibility to practitioners. For
Whose
instance,
job is it then?
I think the government, the host community rather. Okay. We are not going to use the government. Rather, we use the host community. All over the world, the communities that play host to the sea, we call them host communities. Okay. So maybe it can be the government, it can be the community head, it can be anybody. But as long as you're a host community, what are you doing, to drive traffic to your seaport? That is number one. Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the idea? Do you have the innovation? Do you have the technical know-how? Okay. So we're going to look into that as well.
We have to take this in bits and pieces and break every point down so that we don't miss the points out. So you say the host communities have a role to play in creating awareness.
Yes.
How can they do this?
The host community, for instance, they position themselves as the owners of the facility because a port is a facility, for the fact that it hosts vessels from the global community all over the world means there are original people, who owns that community by which the facility exists. Okay. Now, what do? They must make sure that they are part of the system.
But who develops the port? The government, I think.
The government only give approvals and certifications. Okay. Yes, I have practiced in several ports and I've not really seen the one that is owned by government. Yeah, for instance, if you go to One, we have a lot of terminals that is owned by, individuals. Maybe it's either on a PPP arrangement or maybe just outright, ownership. For instance, in One, we have One Multipurpose Terminal. We have West African Container Terminal owned by Maersk. One Multipurpose Terminal collective of several shipping lines like PIL, MSC and others. Then we have Browell Shipping. We have a whole lot. If you go to Lagos, you see them as well. Recently I had some consignment in Lagos and the terminal I've never known existed, was where my consignment was. Really? And I'm like, wow, these guys are really serious. So we don't always wait for the government. You can come out as a cross-riverian to say, I need a part of the waterfront, to either invest as a jetty, a bonded terminal, or maybe build a port. This
is very interesting.
Of course.
We can own a part.
Of course, you can do that.
So there might be limitations, financial limitations, or like you had earlier said, awareness, this could be things that could limit cross-riverians from leveraging the opportunity.
I wouldn't want us to use financial limitation as an excuse.
But that's an expensive investment.
Not to position ourselves to take advantage of what we have. Okay. You understand? You can walk into the bank, You understand? If you have the integrity,
Nigerian banks of today.
no, let's not all together
we
think that. Let's not look at impossibility.
I agree.
You understand? I believe everything is possible.
But beyond the
To
financial
them,
limitations, right? Beyond the
course.
financial limitations, how else can individuals position themselves to be part of the port? Because you say something very striking. It's not about the government.
No, it's not about the
You always
government.
blame the government for lack of.
Why wait for the
functional
government for
ports and
Christ's
all
sake?
of that. What can people
Government is to make policies. Government is to regulate
provide security?
Regulate some standards. Government is to provide security. Government is, maybe if they have the luxury of time, they can create awareness, like going into publicity, marketing, and all of that. But the facilities there, is lying there waiting for an individual.
Whoa.
You understand?
This
to
is
say,
very revealing.
Of course, if you go to the waterfront that is that sits side by side with the existing Calabar seaport, you will see that, to my right, to my right, there are some private terminals that is owned by private tank farms, where they bed their tanker vessels and discharge to the tank farms. Do you want to tell me that Cross River State government owns that? No, now. Those are private terminals.
So the notion that Calabar Port is not functional, at least maximally, is wrong.
It's totally wrong.
Okay.
It's totally wrong. I know that we have limitation, which is our drafts. But that does not altogether mean that there's no activity going on there. There are a lot of activities going on there, for Christ's sake.
Okay, Mama, as of today,
yes,
what activities would you say are ongoing at the Calabar Port?
For instance, we have, from time to time, vessels that bring wheat, for Dangote, vessels that bring petroleum products for the tank farms. We also have some private industries that bring in vessels to bring maybe their facilities, their raw material and all of that, but at the moment, I think, is it a tank farm, wheat and all of that. Sometimes late last year, there was a vessel that came here to evacuate palm kernel shells, and take it to Europe. So vessels are still calling from time to time.
But then again, when you put the Calabar ports beside the Lagos, of course, when we compare the Lagos ports, those are busy ports day in, day out. But the question now would be, what beyond the financial limitations, beyond the awareness, what are the other things that are limiting our port, Calabar ports, from being functional? Is it the dredging issue? Is it the fact that government isn't yet fully tapping into the potentials there? What are the other things limiting the port from functioning properly?
I still insist. Yes, the Calabar port needs some kind of dredging to be able to meet up with the desired
standard.
Yes, standard, which is either 9 or 12 meters.
Where are we right now?
I think we are 7.1, between 7.1 and 7.9.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
the standard is 9 or 12?
Yes, at least, to be able to accommodate some vessels.
Yeah, big ships.
You understand?
Yeah.
Big ships. So now there are vessels with flat bottom that can still call Calabar Seaport. Last year, we had some vessels that came, although that was, strictly within the coast, moved some consignments from One, discharging Calabar Seaport, take some empties, ETUs back to One. Courtesy of Clarion Shipping. Okay. And all of that. Then before COVID, 2019, 2020, we had vessel from, the origin was Spain, Magisa liner.
That breasted here.
Yeah. Magisa liner was a liner vessel. That is why we call liner, and they were coming on a routine calls. At least every 2 weeks, we were having container vessels here. And why it is that it looks like Calabar Seaport does not really impact the community is because, like I said, Trump arrangement is strictly unchartered. That means, everything has been put in place. They don't need, the entire other practitioners to be part of. Place, yeah. You understand? But if we have a routine liner vessels that calls Calabar Seaport fortnightly, just like other seaports in the nation, you will see that the Calabar port will be busy. Go back to what we always know it to be. I remember, a few years ago when during the tenure of Governor Donald Duke, we were playing host to some rural vessels that was bringing, vehicles all over the world, and it bites here in Calabar Seaport. This same seaport that talking about dredging and all of that. We also had vessels like Maersk Line had an office here, and we were receiving containers here.
I also recall that in 2022, the seaport had a measurable amount of traffic.
Of course,
vessels came in.
That is the project.
Yeah.
It's one of the projects I mentioned, bringing equipment for the construction of those
in 2022.
Yeah, 2022, 2023, 2024 as well. There were some vessels that were calling. Even as we speak till today, if you go to Calabar Seaport, you will see one or two vessels bet there.
Okay.
So it's not altogether dry. As it's being portrayed.
Thank you for that enlightenment. Thank you for that clarification. I sincerely wanted to hear that from a practitioner, and thank you for saying that. So when you look around the state, Calabar and other parts of Cross River, you see that a lot of young people are unemployed, right? And I was at a seminar you actually spoke at one time, and you said there are abundant opportunities at the Calabar port.
Of course.
As a matter of fact, young persons should key in. So now the question is, what are these opportunities at the Calabar port young people can key into to make a living for themselves?
Yesterday, I was in another podcast, and I told them, if anybody should ask me, if you are not a maritime practitioner, what will you do? I will still tell them I will be a maritime business practitioner. Why? Because I know that
you seem to love the job.
Not just love the job, there are a lot that are still untapped. Okay. You understand? And now we have the ones we call technical skills here in the system, and we have the one we call soft skills. Maritime trade has something for everyone.
Really?
Whether you study law, you are a medical doctor, you did welding, whatever you do, there's always something for everyone. Now, from the technical jobs, we talk about port operations. Then we talk about terminal handlings. And we also look into logistics and supply chain. We also look into custom brokerage, and compliance. Those are activities that you can't just stay in your own comfort zone to understand this job.
You have to go there.
You must submit yourself for learning or training, as an apprentice to learn them. Because like I always say, tell my boys in the office that no matter what you study in school, when you come to the maritime sector, you must be open to learning, because you're like starting all over again to learn the technicalities of the job. So there are a lot. And when you look at both the port operations, the terminal operations, the cargo consolidation, the terminal handling, then you now go into the one we call soft skill. That is for eyesight. A young man asked me yesterday, I am an ITC expert. What can I do in the port? Yeah. And I told him, you guys are even the ones taking our jobs. Why? Because, yes.
How so?
I'm telling you, with the single window, the national single window that has just been introduced, you can stay anywhere in the world to carry on your activities. So with the guys,
are you saying that your jobs are threatened because of the ICT guys?
No, I mean with my level now.
You're not threatened, right? Okay, for the newbies,
I can also stay anywhere in the world to do my job. I can claim my consignment, sell out a vessel in any part of the world.
You don't need to be physically present at any port.
I don't need to be physically present.
Wow.
Right now, I have some consignment that is being handled in 8 containers.
How many years have you been on this job, man? How many years have you been on this job?
I've been there for 20 years.
Okay.
I was married. I was married into the job.
I understand now why you're not threatened by anybody.
No, I'm not threatened by anybody.
Yeah, right?
Exactly. I'm not.
Okay, so speak to Cross River youth right now. What can they do at the port? You mentioned a few.
Yeah.
I'd like you to mention the other ones. So if somebody listening to this podcast now decides to take up a job or decides to do something at the port, what is the first step they should take?
And like I always say, you first of all look at what is unique, within your own community. Okay. Because you are coming to add value. That is number one. Now, you are not coming because you want to work in a shipping line. No. You are not coming because you want to work in NPA. No. Rather, you are coming, to be a private practitioner. So you can come in as a clearing agent, just like me. I started as a clearing and forwarding agent. I was talking to one of the dignitaries in the state, and I was sure when he said, Madam, you know that una thing is so capital intensive. And I'm like, what do you need money for? You know, sending the youth in your community to come and learn. You understand? People say they know the price monkey on top of tree.
Of course.
You have not even come there and you're talking about capital intensive.
What is it capital intensive?
Capital intensive to do what exactly?
To learn?
Except, no, my office is open.
Okay.
I don't charge. I even pay some of my apprentices.
Okay.
Every month I pay them stipend, at least to help them mobilize coordinate their movements.
Yeah.
You understand? So just come. We want to see how we can transfer this knowledge. I want somebody. I don't want to be the only woman again in the port.
Are you the woman in the port right now?
At the moment.
Oh, I see why you have the leverage. I see. So it's more like the other men are protecting you, right?
You think so? It's a battlefield.
Well, I think so.
Fidelis is a battlefield. See, maritime trade is a battle.
Come on. Look at you, man. Look at you.
Let's not talk about that, man. Let me tell you, maritime business is a mafia job. It's not for the faint heart. Whether you are a woman or a man, you must come prepared.
So why is it that kind of a job? Why is it that mafia?
Yeah, because you have to face the security agencies. One consignment. No, they're not really a problem. You understand? But you must prove yourself worthy, to be able to send consignments abroad. Okay. Because once the consignment leaves your community, your origin, let's use the word.
Term, your origin.
Yeah, the terms. It leaves your origin to another destination. It's no longer your job. It's a job for the nation. So for them to make sure that, you don't mess us up as a people, you must be ready to be putting checks. Do you understand? So you face the NDLEA, you face SON, you face National Agricultural Quarantine, you face the DSS,
Customs,
and Customs. Customs, that one, a whole lot of departments in Customs. From the CIU, the enforcement, they are the bigger boys.
Okay.
You understand? And all of that. So the job is not for you to come casual. It's not for those that does casual activities.
You must come prepared.
No, you must come prepared.
Okay, we'll come back to opportunities therein at the port for young people. Let's widen the conversation right now and talk at state level now. So, like I said earlier, Cross River State sits on the Gulf of Guinea and has access to the Atlantic through Calabar. But the question is, as a state, not as individuals now, as a state, do you think we are leveraging enough on our prospects or potentials? Do you think our policies are helping us to tap, on the potentials we have in the maritime sector? I see the efforts of the governor right now trying to, of course, reclaim our oil wells, trying to have the Bakassi deep sea port working. But beyond that, what are the other things the state can do to put us on the global map?
In fact, when I heard the news that Cross River State has been given approval to play host to a deep sea port, I was one of the people that was so super excited. Yeah, right. Why? Because I just returned on a study tour, from Singapore port, and I have never been to that area. Okay. But from my knowledge and understanding, I know that Bakassi deep sea port can be for Africa what Singapore port is for Asia. Why? Because it has a strategic location, facing the Gulf of Guinea. So it can be a transshipment port, that connects all ports globally, for either transshipment, cargo consolidation, refueling, crew changes and all of that. So now, like you said, the government in that aspect, they have tried. And I know they are still pushing to achieve that. But looking at the existing potentials and how far they've gone, how we say the government have not done enough in terms of policy, and I still insist on creating awareness. Right now, Cross River State is one of the states in the nation, that is overwhelmed with all the, exports cargo. What you can think of is deposited here in Cross River State.
Really?
Yes. And we
are not exporting enough.
Let me come. And they are also one of the luckiest states or blessed states in the nation that plays host to the 3 export window. The land border, the sea, yes, and the air.
Whoa.
And the air. Right now, in maritime logistics and transport, we have, we recognize another single, which is the pipeline. And of course, that I just mentioned tanker vessels and all of that. Cross River State also is privileged to have that mode of transportation. That means they play host to the pipeline mode, play host to the sea, play host to the land border, and play host to the air. Then how many Cross Riverians can say, this is where I belong as a practitioner?
Right.
Then apart from that, you say we are not exporting. People are exporting your products. In fact, if you go to your bushes now, you will see even the Chinese moving solid minerals, timber, palm oil, cocoa, and they take it to Lagos.
What are your thoughts on that? Beyond just the Chinese, I see people from other parts of the country.
That is what I'm saying.
Coming to export what ours? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mentioned Chinese because I want you to look at it that Cross River State play host to the international community. You understand? Not just the locals.
Yeah, right.
And why is that? Because of what they've got, the potentials. And the host community, which is the government as well, are not doing enough to be sure that they put some policies in place to make to be sure their own citizens or indigenes are part of the system.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
What policies can the government of the state put in place to ensure that these potentials are tapped into adequately? Because I'm worried, sincerely, I'm worried when young persons always say we don't have jobs. And here you sit and say there are abundant opportunities at the port untapped.
Of course.
So how can the state help young people see these opportunities at the port? And what policies can help them?
Number one policy should be cargo regulation. Cargo regulation in the sense that Cross River State is the second largest producer of cocoa in the country.
Absolutely.
Then why are we not using our port to do the shipping?
Really?
So like during the time of Donald Duke, there was a regulation. If you source cocoa in Cross River State, you must use the port or have to pay some fine to the government.
So what changed?
Honestly, I don't know.
You begin to wonder from Donald Duke down to Leah Limo cases to Leah Limo case. What changed?
Honestly, I don't know.
Is it the boom of the Lagos port?
I've never been a politician and I'm not politically connected. I'm sorry to say that.
Okay.
I have always been a business person. So I am talking this on the background of business, not as a politician or maybe anyone in government. Do you understand? So I don't know, the sitting of government, whether policies changes after a new administration comes in. I wouldn't know that, but I'm telling you, because I remember then I had some containers I needed to move to One. It was large, about 30-something containers.
Whoa.
It was in a convoy, but when it got to Odukpani Junction, it was intercepted. And they asked us to pay a certain fee. That was when I had that understanding that there was a policy on ground, that regulate cargo movement from the state, to be shipped from another port. And I want to tell you something this morning that, shipping companies can go anywhere as long as there is cargo. Forget about all these politics. There's cargo.
Let's say that again. Shipping companies,
they can call any port.
Anywhere
they can call any port
in the country
as long as there's cargo and there's security. They can call any port.
Okay.
Do you understand? As we speak, a lot of them are calling me. Is there anywhere you can talk with the government if they regulate this cargo? Yes. If they regulate this cargo that we are seeing in our port in One and Lagos, we can come down. But
so it means there are cargoes that are willing to come here.
There are vessels.
Rather, willing to come here.
Of course.
But the problems are perhaps government regulations.
Government regulation, one. Then two, the cargo has already been moved out to other states. And a shipping line would not want to come in, with laden containers.
What are laden containers?
The containers that are loaded, that are already loaded, then leave in ballast. That is a total loss on them. Leave empty. Yes, leave empty. That's a total loss on them.
So they expect to come loaded and leave loaded. If we can achieve that, we will have a routine liner vessel calling Calabar Seaport. So that takes us back to production then, right?
Yes.
So we need to start producing for exportation. So when these containers come, we
are also coming there. You know that Africans are the only, should I say, people in the world that export raw material. I have been working with Chinese for the past 20 years. If Chinese is only talking about, we bring this to you. And if you talk about seeing how you can send your already processed and packaged products to them, they will never, open up a discussion to talk to you again.
Why so?
Because they know that getting a raw material will give them more. Do you understand?
They prefer raw materials.
Now, okay, for instance, now, Cross River State has been exporting cocoa beans. Then we now go to Europe, buy our chocolate, buy beverages, buy other products. Do you know that a single seed of cocoa and palm oil alone gives you about 21 products, a single seed of palm fruit?
Really?
Yes. Then a single seed.
Can you mention a few?
I will mention a few.
Please.
A single seed of cocoa gives you about 13 to 15 products.
Really?
Of course. Palm oil now we have palm oil, we have raw palm oil. Which we call crude.
Okay, crude. Okay.
Yes. Due to lack of understanding, we consume crude palm oil that has a very high cholesterol. Yes, that's what we've been consuming.
So we've been consuming harmful products.
not really harmful. Then we have refined palm oil. Okay. I'm mentioning because each and every one of them has its own HS code. And if you see any product that has HS code, that means it's exportable. It's already a product. Harmonized system code. It's a code that describes a product.
It's a global code, I guess.
Yes, a global code.
Okay.
You understand? Then crude palm oil, refined palm oil. Then we have a palm kernel shell. We have palm kernel cake. We have palm kernel oil. The cake, you're not eating it. Is for animal feed.
Okay.
After the palm kernel seed had been crushed and you take out the oil, they don't trash that
the shaft. Okay.
They mold it, dry it, mold it into cake for exportation for animal feed.
Wow. These are just a few of the 22 items you mentioned. So how many of these do we produce from the States? Or do we produce as individuals?
The only one, we are not, let's not even talk about production, but I know that we've exported some. I've exported palm kernel shell to Portugal.
You have?
Yes, I have. I have exported to Portugal. I've exported to Poland. I have exported to China. Wow. Then I have exported palm oil, to some of these African countries. That one was regional trade.
I would have added importer-export to introduction then.
Then someone called me recently and asked for volume, if we can have a certain volume for palm kernel oil. The one we call Mayang, the local one we call Mayang, palm kernel oil.
Okay.
Yes, it needed palm kernel oil, palm kernel cake, and palm kernel shell.
Wow. Is it a lack of awareness or is it a deliberate effort not just to be a producing economy? Because it seems as though there's a lot we can get from palm kernel, like you rightly stated. But are we leveraging on these things? Are we getting these things?
I want to say that it's a deliberate, attitude.
From indigens, from people who are involved
collective
in it.
People, we are so deliberate about not adding value. I'm sorry to say
it's a lukewarm attitude, right? It's
a very lukewarm attitude. You don't just care. You understand?
Or they don't know, maybe.
We have been trying, for instance, do you know how much I spend yearly to host training programs?
I've attended
in these two states. Thank you for that.
Two of the programs.
I will write letters upon letters to both government and private sector. They don't care. But let there be a political Larry. You will see people and you're like, these guys, are they existing here? Do you understand? So you can imagine the kind of attitude we have. We are not open to learning. We are not open for innovation. We don't just want to see how we can learn new things. That's why in my class, I always have this slogan: you are here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. You understand? If you don't unlearn certain things, you will not be open to relearning new things. You understand? So that is it.
I did a bit of a research and I found out that the blue economy has over $2 trillion in dollars domiciled there.
Of course.
So what that means is that if we tap into the blue economy properly, we'll be a rich economy, a wealthy economy. We might not even need oil anymore or need agriculture.
Let me even shock you, Fidelis. Do you know that in the entire nation, the South-South play host to I think 60% of the water, the seas and the water. That serves the nation.
How useful is that to them over there? Are
Do you
leveraging the opportunity?
All we have been talking about in the South is oil and gas. Our oil. So we have this kind of mentality like a man who has maybe 7 sons Or maybe, okay, let's even look at the man in the Bible that has the son, I think Isaac and Jacob. And just because this guy normally bring meat from farm, and this one was home to just know how to cook beans. There was a kind of manipulation, and he chose the one that cooks beans. So that is the kind of mentality we have here. Everybody, like, for instance, now, check our politicians. After office, what business do they do? Is it that they open hotel, restaurants? Maybe those that really have money.
I'm sorry, that cracked me up.
No, and they are informed. No, but that is it now. And they are informed, we open schools. Then those ones that really say, let me just do something, they will open filling station.
But that's oil and gas now.
No, that's oil and gas. Okay, that's oil and gas.
Oil and gas.
So we should just settle there.
So you can hear Pat James.
What about other potentials? You understand?
I'm glad we're having this conversation today.
So that's what we're talking about. Let me tell you, I'm not taking words from you.
No, go on, please, go on.
Do you know that when I did my palm kernel shell exports, we were to move some shells, both from Akampa and some part of Akwa Ibom to One for further shipments. Do you know what limited us?
What?
Just common thing like trucks. This 911, this truck.
You couldn't find trucks.
I was shocked. I was so shocked to know that Cross River State and Akwa Ibom, nobody owns those kind of facilities. We had to wait
They didn't own, or you didn't see enough?
They don't own. Those ones that come from the north.
Really?
We had to make an arrangement with these guys that bring cow, goats, yams, and say, I bet when you discharge your goods,
come and carry her. Is it that bad?
That's it.
So it means there's a lot we haven't tapped into.
System. See, the logistic, system in this part of the world is so bad that if Calabar port should open today, I don't know how we are going to move our containers.
So does that mean that everyone is more interested in politics, perhaps the oil money, and then nobody's paying attention to the maritime sector?
They are not paying attention.
So what can you do as an individual now? Let me come to you on an individual level now. Of course, you've done a lot already. I've attended most of your seminars and all of that. But what more can you do, perhaps to create awareness, to draw government's attention to these problems? What more can you do?
What more can I do is to take advantage of all the openings.
Not just for yourself now, but for the state, for individuals, because it seems as though you've done enough for yourself.
For the state, like I said, I am not politically connected. And
you shouldn't be, actually.
I shouldn't be. I don't even have the time for that. Do you understand? The only thing I can do as an individual to add value is to continue. Now we're even going down to even schools.
Secondary schools,
university. I have been to Unical, I've been to Unicross. I have sent letters to some secondary schools to say, bring your children to come and learn maritime logistics and transport. I was even shocked that some of the private secondary schools, the tutors, the director don't know anything about logistics. They keep asking me, what is logistics?
Really?
What do they do? What is it all about?
Really?
And out of about 10 schools we sent letters, so it was just one school
that responded.
Responded and sent their children. And the woman has been calling, when are you having, the next training? So we have done a lot, honestly, to see how we can create awareness, bring in people into the sector. But you can, like they say, you can take a horse to the sea, you can't force them to drink.
So when I go to, when I want to travel to Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, I usually go to the port, Marina area to use the boats now. And I see some businesses around there.
Of course.
So those small boat operators, right?
Yeah.
Where do they fall under? Which category do they fall under?
It's still, we call them a maritime transport or marine transport. They fall under maritime transport.
Okay.
They move boat people and maybe and some light cargo, and all of that. And that is still a very big opening because right now, I don't know whether you've been to shoreline recently.
No, I'm not.
You will see that there's a whole lot of traffic there and we have limited, open boats to move cargo and connect this African coast. So anybody that comes up or is ready, we are ready. We can put a person through, to see how we can leverage on that, opening that opportunity.
I will see you after the podcast. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, yesterday, in a FCILT conference too, some fan members came in and they're like, we also need someone or maybe a company that will come there as a private cargo agent. And I'm like, is there no one? So you see that opportunities are just lying there.
Wow, this is sad to know.
And you talked about, the waterfronts and the seas that surrounds us. Because it's
100 kilometers.
It's like you building a beautiful, in fact, house, and you don't put door, nobody stays there. What happened? Is that a lunatic?
Goes fallow, of course.
A lunatic comes there to stay, or maybe
tout.
We just use that as their heaven. So that is exactly what's happening to our waterfront. If you know the activities that is going on, the informal activities in waterfront, you will be shocked that I thought they said nothing is happening in our waterfront, but activities is going on there as we speak.
Let's stretch beyond Calabar now. Let's stretch into Lagos State. So the Lagos ports are often described as over-congested, right?
Course.
Day in, day out, cargo ships are landing and all of that. The question is this over-congestion a risk for investors, an opportunity for others to key into the sector?
A risk for investors in Lagos, or maybe
in Lagos and of course across other ports, because it seems as though they are scared of coming this way.
I want to say that is a very big opportunity, for other ports to leverage on. Now, you can walk into any of the shipping liners and say, instead of you to go and queue up in Lagos, waste your diesel, waste your transit time, you can come to my port.
But they will not come.
No, they can come with the concession, some kind of packages and cargo on ground. Why wouldn't they come?
Why do all these ships choose Lagos? Why do they prefer
Because
Lagos?
Nobody has gone there to market them.
Really?
And tell them this is what you stand to gain if you should come to my port.
Is it about marketing or about the fact that perhaps they feel more comfortable there? They feel like you can do business easily there.
No vessel feels comfortable in a system that will delay their transit time.
But they keep going there.
Why would they go there?
Something Lagos Port is doing that other ports are not doing.
Number one, all the facilities there is perfect. You understand?
Which other ports may not have. We are talking about infrastructure. Yeah.
Last time I was interviewed by Channels and we talked about revamping the dockyards and the port yards. Go to Calabar Seaport and check the dockyard. What equipment is there? Are the engineers, on standby in case a vessel calls and need urgent maintenance? Do you understand? And you understand? Then the Calabar port now play host to two private terminals, the ECM terminal and the Intel's terminal, who is monitoring, the activities there, to see how maybe they can give them support, and also see how they can regulate some activities. So that is what we're talking about. And I have been a practitioner of international trade for the past 20 years. And if there is any business in the world that is quite timely, it's because every time that you spend is at cost to it. That's why you hear demurrage. And demurrage on vessels is charged on dollars, USD. You understand? Or hard currency. So nobody will want to come to a place by which they have to look for, how to look for hire crane to come and discharge a vessel. They have to look for where to hire dock laborers, to come and discharge. Nobody, no shipping line in the world. And
these are things the Calabar port may not even have.
No shipping line in the world we want to play to play toy with their business.
Delay, absolutely.
Because like I talk about transit time, as a vessel leaves maybe Hamburg or maybe China, Shanghai, China, they've already calculated their transit time. If you check, I can sit down here to monitor my consignment that was just loaded last week. I know the next port of call. I check my transit time and I know the estimated time of arrival. You understand? So anything that will cause delay and it can add cost, to the shipping line and also, the owners of the goods. So nobody will want to toy with their transit time.
Absolutely. Now, so a major problem the Calabar port has had is the dredging of the port, the seaport actually. And you have said that it stands at 7.2 meters right now.
Between 7
and
meters
the standard is between 10 and 12 meters,
at
right?
Least.
At least 10 and 12
meters.
But
the Bakassi deep sea port currently, I think, play host to, between 17 to 22 meters.
Okay.
So that is why it's called deep sea port.
Deep sea port.
Yeah.
But then the deep sea port still needs dredging.
No, not at all.
They want to dredge. I mean, there are plans on the way to dredge.
Dredge what? Except
the port.
Not. It might not really be that they want to look at the deep sea. Work has to be done. Where the terminal is going to be, constructed, all the construction that is going to be done there. You can't just go and put up a structure now. Some work needs to be done, cleaning the port, checking whether there are some debris and all of that. So I think that's really what they want to do. But the deep sea port is naturally deep.
And you think it is okay for big vessels to rest there?
Of course.
So now
it's an heaven for modern vessels.
I'm going to ask you this, perhaps a hard question. Over the years, you had mentioned that the last time vessels had traffic was in 2022, and that's a long time ago. So looking at the economics of today, the policies of the government today, how can we divert attention from Lagos to Cross River, Calabar? And if you look at it also, we are closer to Central Africa, but they prefer to go to Lagos. So what can we do to bring the attention to the port here in Calabar and then to make the port busy and provide jobs for young people?
Fidelis, I don't want us to look at Lagos as a threat to us, or present
But is Lagos not a threat?
No, wait. I don't want us to present ourselves as a competitor to Lagos. It doesn't work that way.
How does it work?
Rather, let's see how we can do our own due diligence. Visit the ports. Talk with the port operators. Meet with the terminal operators. What needs to be done? What support do you need from the host community or the government? What policy, can you guide us to put in place in order to drive traffic to my port? And you will see that nobody will tell those shipping lines, what are you doing in Lagos? Do you understand? Calabar Port is one of the best ports in the nation.
Really?
Because it plays host to the island. So I can even trek from the gate to the terminal to check my consignment. But One, can you trek? It's very wide. Lagos Port, you don't even know. Sometimes, like the consignment I told you was documented that it's going to land in this terminal, only for me to realize that it has moved to another terminal. But that wouldn't happen in Calabar Seaport. Do you understand?
Things are ordinary here.
And all the security agencies have offices closer to the port and terminals. Custom is just a stone throw to the port. The Calabar Free Trade Zone is a stone throw to the port and customs. So the only thing that is limiting us is lack of human capital,
maybe awareness, like you said earlier.
Awareness, then the government presence.
Perhaps, the willpower to make it work. So
exactly.
You had earlier mentioned some policies of government that you think are not so good and are not helping the port to work. If you had the ears of policymakers in the state today, what would you tell them? What would you think you would want them to do to make the port viable?
Now, I just don't want to look at within Cross River State or the South-South, but the entire nation. During the time of President Obasanjo, he did something that we will forever live to remember him. When you hear, I think some of you were just very young then. I think that was the year 2000, that rural vessels were bringing cars to Calabar Seaport. It was because of the policy that President Obasanjo made. What he did was to designate some kind of commodity to certain ports. Calabar Port played host then to food and drugs, and cosmetics, and some clothing material. And with that, then
I recall how functional Tinapa was then.
Of course, and you can imagine big industrialists and importers like Orange Drugs, their consignment were landing here. You can imagine there was a time some of those big importers in Aba, Onisha. Somebody like us, we can clear like one bill of lading can carry like 60, 70 containers.
Whoa.
Do you understand?
It means you were busy.
We were busy. You understand? That was because the president saw and said, okay, let me put this policy down in order to attract traffic to some certain parts of the country and boost their economic performance.
So, and it worked.
It worked. And the present government can also do that. If we put our voices together to say, approach the system. And there was concession as well. I forgot to say that. I think there was either 30% concession.
Oh, really?
Yes. Any consignment that costs Calabar Seaport, the federal government gave them concession.
30% off.
Yes. So you can imagine if vessel were to pay, 100 million USD and you have 30%. Why won't you call Calabar Seaport? So it's just for the host community to now say,
negotiate properly.
Let's come together, to go in to negotiation with the federal government.
No.
Thank God now there's even a Ministry of Blue Economy.
I was just coming there. So I was just coming right there.
Of course.
Let's take it wider now.
Okay.
So we have a Minister for Blue Economy, and it seems as though little or nothing is happening in that sector. Yeah, I've listened to him speak severally about the blue economy potentials of Cross Rivers of our country. But when I sit back and watch the economy, it seems nothing is really coming out of the blue economy.
You see,
what are your thoughts?
The problems that politicians always make is to, designate offices to their friends and associates.
Not experts. You cannot bring academics simply because maybe somebody studied blue economy in the uni, to be the one to manage such a sector that, 85% of what is required is practical approach. Right.
Do you understand? So that is where the government is missing it. I have attended a lot of blue economy programs. Sometimes I will just sit there and say, instead of me to sleep, because it's all about, theory.
Right?
This is the link of this seaport to this seaport. Nobody really talk about what is connecting to the reality, which is the practice. Do you understand? And if government doesn't change their ways to see how they can reach out to practitioners to say, come and help us, we're still going to have what we got. That's the truth.
So what can the Federal Ministry of Blue Economy do?
Go into the port, see things by yourself. Talk with the practitioners. See how you can improve operations. Talk with all the security agencies at the port. If there's a need for you to, reduce security agencies in the port, if they are, creating any bottleneck, you do that. Take action. Find out from the shipping liners, what is there any hidden charges from what we are paying? Why is it that a 40-feet container going to Ghana pays maybe a freight of $5,000, but the one coming to Nigeria pay $12,000? Why is there that difference? So if the government doesn't sit and pay attention to detail about practice, we are still going to sit and wait. There's
also the issue of coastal tourism. When you come to Cross River State, of course, we are destination Cross River.
Yeah.
We are the place where everybody wants to come to live and be at rest. Tourism is our major sell, Of course, coastal tourism should be something we can sell. Unfortunately, I'm not so sure we are selling that. What are your thoughts on coastal tourism?
In fact, coastal tourism will really boost the revenue of Cross River State. I was walking out at the conference center the other day because my house is closer there. Okay. And what I saw was just the land that links between conference center and Tinapa.
Okay. Yeah.
And what did I see? A resort. And nobody is seeing that. But I saw a beautiful resort there, where people can, go there, sit by the waterfront, and
have a great time.
A great
family time.
You understand? Then all the waters, you can also, get some of these yacht launch, all these boats that you can just use that to have a family time. You can, like my where I live in the United Kingdom is an ocean village. Oh. So I am surrounded by water. And I see, sometimes I will just view through my window, to the ship house, see the small park for the smaller boat. And I'm like, wow, I wish I can duplicate this, in Calabar. My house here too oversees the sea. Really? And sometimes I will just look at this.
You have a thing with water, perhaps because of your job.
Because of my job, and I will just like, I wish I have all the money. I will just develop this place and be bringing some of these, small boats, for tourists and all of that. So Cross River State has not yet tapped into marine tourism, and that's a very big market waiting for them.
Apart from the marina resort we have, which of course
the marina resort, what are you doing there?
Exactly, I was going to say that, which of course is just
what are you doing in marina resort?
More of a place you go to on Sunday evening to eat fish and a few other things.
So marina resort, the state government or maybe on a PPP arrangement should get some boat that people can just go in there, screw around the sea, get a very good time, return back home and relax. Not just to sit by the sea. You have to go to the sea. While I was in Singapore last month, we went to the sea. We went to an island. We cruised inside Singapore water, side by side with big vessels, container vessels. And there's this one they call, we went to two islands anyway. I forgot the names. and all of that.
And had a
So
good
we
time.
can have something like that.
Now, as an expert with over 20 years experience, what can you tell the federal and state government, right? I'm sure at this point you can advise the government because, you have the experience, you have put in effort, you've worked hard in the sector, you have your businesses booming in the sector, you've trained people, you've gone on international seminars, you've taught people in and outside the country. What can you tell the government? What is that specific thing you think they need to do? Especially Cross River State government to boost our economy around the water area?
First of all is that Cross River State, as a matter of urgency, should make a policy, on cargo regulation. A lot is leaving Cross River State.
Illegally.
Informally. Or maybe somewhat formally.
When you say informally, that's illegal, isn't it?
We don't
not documented.
Not documented.
So it's illegal.
There's no statistics.
So it's illegal then, isn't it?
Now, if you check the statistic in maybe through CBN statistic of what is exported in the country, you will see that all that cocoa that is moved out of Cross River State, all that palm oil, all the timber is not recorded for Cross River State.
No, don't tell me that.
It's not recorded for them.
No.
It's not recorded for
hard
you.
To believe.
No, I'm telling you with the way it is.
Not recorded for me as a state.
No.
Who is it recorded for?
The ports of departure or origin is either Lagos or One.
Why so?
So that is why you see that they say, millions of exported this and that left Lagos. Some of them are from Cross River State.
But why is it recorded for Lagos?
Because you're not serious with what you have. And you know what
does the state know this?
Of course. I have attended even seminars under Export Promotion Council and I talked about this. Yes.
Have you had a one-on-one with the governor of the state and have you told him? Have you tried to? Because I feel like sometimes these things need to be told to these people.
So, like I said, I'm not politically connected.
No, that's not political.
And I wouldn't want to force myself to where I don't belong. Except I'm being invited, then I can honor. But for you to try to... I don't even have the time. That's the truth. But if maybe I'm invited, I can honor such an invitation. Do you understand?
I feel like you have a lot more to offer the state. Looking at your vast years of experience,
of course,
your vast years of learning and teaching people, our Maritime sector can benefit a lot more with you in it.
Of course.
The next question now would be, how can you as a person, as Dr. Aniefiok, help young people beyond what you're doing now? Yes, you're doing a lot already.
Of course.
But how can they come on board? How can they begin to have jobs at the port, especially jobs at the Calabar port?
Now, the traffic already we know. Traffic in Calabar port is very slow. But what I do in my office is that I think some of them we have jobs in One, Lagos. I can train them, send them to One. We have consignments, go. And support the staff there so that you can learn the practical aspect of it.
You sent your staff there?
Of course. I have staff in Lagos. I have staff in Port Harcourt.
That's impressive.
Last while I was outside the country, some of my staff here were the ones that went to Lagos to clear those tankers. Of course. So as a private person, you know that I cannot do so much. So within our capacity...
But there's so much you can do.
Yes, there's so much I can do, of course. But within our capacity, we tried. Any of them that come on board, we make sure that from day one you come, we put you on track to learn, send you to customs, send you to NPA, send you to the zone.
So there are areas I want to talk about quickly before we wrap up the conversation now.
Yeah.
There's port logistics, there's fisheries, there's marine services, and there's coastal tourism. You have say something about coastal tourism. How about the fisheries and marine services? What's that about?
The fisheries and marine services is where you have a fishing boat. That you are not a regular fisherman. Okay. Where you carry your hook and line to go and catch fish. Now you are doing it in an industrial way as a professional. You get a fishing boat, and that will require you to get license.
I'm not sure we have that in Cross River. Do we have that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So that area is still largely untapped.
Largely untapped.
Whoa.
So that's it.
It's quite sad, Dr. Anne. Trust me. I mean, after everything I've heard from you, I feel like breaking down because we largely depend on oil money, depend on the federal government giving us allocation, and then a little IGR. I wish that those people in power can see beyond all of this. I must say thank you so much indeed for your time and for coming on board to enlighten us. But before I let you go, this is a diaspora channel. It means we have diasporans watching right now. And they might just want to find out, how can we outside the country, outside the state, come in? Which areas would you advise them to come into? You are an expert in this sector. What can you tell our diasporans? Which areas do you think they can best come in, invest their money, and see returns on investment?
Yes. First of all, Cross River State is already lucky to have a brand. Number one, global brand for Cross River State is Tinapa.
Right.
Then number two is Crosslines.
Crosslines. The defunct Crosslines.
No, I know it's defunct, but I want to see how we can remodel it.
Are you on that project too?
No, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure yet. Now,
how about the Obudu Ranch?
Crosslines.
How about Obudu Cattle Ranch?
Obudu Cattle Ranch. My son called me from the UK yesterday and said, "Mom, you know that I saw on TikTok a young lady advertising Obudu Cattle Ranch. And people were asking, is this still functioning? Is there a place like this in Cross River State? Mom, is this still working?" I said, yes. Do you understand? So, young people, don't use your phone to fight. Use your phone to create value. You can look into all the tourism point that you know. Use that to create content. And you will see that people all over the world will be looking for you. Go to the bushes, check all those products and commodity. Use that to create content. Send it to all your people, your friends, family, and the Cross-Riverian in diaspora. Tell them we have this. Look for market. We can send it to you, and you sell to your associate and friends there. Now we have African products, in the UK. But where do we normally buy it? Asian shop. Sometimes when my children say Asian shop, I'm like, how can I go and buy Ijebu Gari in Asian shop? Does it make any sense?
Right.
So our brothers in the diaspora, there's a lot you can do. We can even have this, there's this Gari my friend used to send me from Ugep. Excellent.
Wow.
As we have Ijebu
You like
Gari,
it, right?
Yes. As we
Let me
have
tap my back.
Ijebu Gari,
That's my place.
we can also have a branded Ugep Gari. It's a collective effort. It's not a one-person thing. When you want to go global, let's stop this my own. It doesn't work because
it doesn't work.
Global trade has to do with volume and brand. You might not have all that it takes for you to brand your product to be accepted up to standard, acceptable standard, of the global community. But you can come together as a people, work with your brothers in the diaspora. Tell them this is what we've got. Can we brand it? I have spoken with some people that, are involved with Tinapa, and I told them, this is a very big brand. Do you know that here we can have a processing factory where we process this palm oil, Gari, and all these other products. Brand them Tinapa Gari, proudly Cross River State, and send it to the global
and it will
community.
sell. It will sell. Because Tinapa is already a brand. It will sell.
Then when we now look at logistics, we now make it that everything that has to do with movement is branded Crosslines. Just like Ibom Air.
I mean, I see what the minibuses are doing now. I mean, the color is blue and white.
Okay. So apart from minibuses, even vessels can be Crossline vessels, right? Cargo vessels, sending consignments to all these African regional communities. So those are what the brethren from the diaspora can come together to say, let's do this one. Wow. I believe, I remember when I did the first training in Cross River State, when I hosted the first training in Cross River State, the theme was making Cross River a hub for international trade and maritime.
We will get there.
And maritime logistics.
We will get there.
People were calling me from, even the then governor, Ayade, called and said, "Madam, if you can do this, we want to key in." Before you know it, they say, "Hey, she's a and end of story."
Let's not go there now. All right.
Go there.
Politics happened, right? Politics happened now. But it's all good. All right. Well, I've had a great conversation with Dr. Aniefiok Iton, FCILT, and I must say this has been very expository, very interesting, and of course, very conversational. You've heard a lot about the maritime sector in the state and how we can tap in, how we can leverage on what we have as a people, as a state, and make the best for ourselves. She has just unpacked unlocking maritime investment opportunities in Cross River. I mean, she was indeed a perfect fit for this conversation. Thank you once again, Dr. Iton, for your time. And I must say, well done for all you do and continue doing it for our state. God bless you immensely.
Thank you.
And that's our show today on this episode of our Policies and Business Investment Podcast. Until I come your way again, keep watching the African Diaspora channels. My name is Fidelis Obana. Have a good day ahead. Bye.